If you remember last week, we watched and listened Job and his friend Curly have a conversation. And through that conversation, we learned that Job was blessed with a lot of land, a lot of animals, a wife, and a lot of kids. And if you remember at the end of last week, Curly come running with an important message. Well, let's join them right now and find out what that important message is. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Joe, wake up! I've got some bad news for you.
Bad news? What is it, Curly?
Well, there's been a really bad accident.
What kind of accident?
Well, you might want to sit down for this.
I am sitting down.
All right. Well, I was in the kitchen walking along when all of a sudden I tripped over my other foot. Or maybe it was a rat. Well, next thing you know, I ran my elbow into the door. Or wait a second, maybe the door ran into my elbow. And then, you wouldn't believe it, I hit my head on the shelf. Wait a second, maybe the shelf hit my head. And then after that, I was very confused.
So what is the bad news? Your clumsiness?
No, it gets worse. Well, after all that, I just fell backwards. I just fell backwards like a dying squirrel and ran into the donkey milk. And all the donkey milk spilled and crashed all over the floor. I got on the floor and started licking it, but it was all going away. There's no more donkey milk, no more ice cream, none of it.
Curly, that is bad news. It's real bad. Wait a second. That's not that bad of news. That donkey milk tastes like onions anyway. We'll get by without that.
I guess. Are you sure?
I'm sure we'll be fine.
I'm not sure if that really happened, but it could have. But I do know that this next part is true because it comes from the Bible. Now, God and Satan were having a conversation one day about our friend Job. Now, God told Satan that Job was blameless, upright, and feared God, and turned from evil. Well, Satan told God, well, of course he does. Look what you've given him. He only respects you and honors you because you have made him rich. Satan told God, you take everything from him, he will curse you to your face. So God allowed Satan to take everything from Job, but he could not hurt him. So let's check back in with Curly and Job, and let's see what happens next.
Joe, wake up! I've got some bad news for you.
What is it, Curly?
Well, some real bad news.
Well, is it really bad news this time?
It's terrible news. Just terrible.
Well, go ahead, spit it out.
Well, there was a gang of wild outlaws.
A gang of wild outlaws? Why, did you call the sheriff?
Too late. They already came, and they took all your donkeys and all your oxen.
They took all my donkeys and oxen? That is terrible news, but I reckon we'll just have to buy some more. We'll get along.
It's worse than that. They killed all your workers who were taking care of them.
They did? All my donkeys and oxen are gone? And now you're telling me all these wonderful people that were my servants, my workers, they're dead?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Joe.
That is terrible, just terrible, but you don't have to be sorry. It's not your fault, Curly. I know God is in control. I will continue to praise his holy name. You can go along, get on with your things, and I'll be all right. I really will. Curly?
Joe?
I said you can get along.
I know, but I've got some more bad news for you.
More bad news?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, there was a storm last night.
Oh, don't you reckon I know about that storm? Why, it kept me up half the night. You know, it was the worst storm I've experienced in a long, long time.
Well, that storm killed all your sheep and all the workers who were taking care of them.
Sheep and the workers?
Yes.
So I've lost my donkey, oxen, and my sheep, and these beautiful, wonderful workers of mine, all dead and gone?
Yes.
Why, that's terrible news. I've never experienced such a calamity in all my life, Curly. It's awful.
I know.
I need some time to process this. I really do. So I would have to ask you to go on about your business. I really need some time alone, Curly. I really do. And Curly, I told you go about your business.
I know, Joe. But I've got some more bad news.
Well, you more bad news?
Yeah, doesn't get any better. Well, another wild gang of outlaws came and attacked, and they took all your camels, and they killed all the workers.
No. All my animals are gone, and all my servants, all these servants whom I love, are there any left?
No, just me. I'm the last one.
That's terrible. That's the worst news I've ever had in my life. I don't know how one man can bear such a fate of bad news.
I've got worse news, Joe. Worse news than that.
Well, how could there be worse news? I'll tell you what, I've lost everything. Wait a second. Don't tell me, Curly. Don't tell me.
Joe, it's the last thing I wanted to tell you, but your oldest son's roof came down during the storm, and all your kids were in it, and they all died. They all died during the storm.
Curly, you're telling me all my children are dead and gone? Oh. I came into this world with nothing, and I shall leave this world with nothing. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Through all that, Job never sinned or blamed God for any of that, as Satan had expected. Now, you would think that would be the end of all the bad things that happened to Job, wouldn't you? Well, it ain't. So if you guys come back next week, we're going to see what else happens, and we'll see if Job stays faithful to God. Y'all come back.